Have you ever imagined the possibility of going on a vacation, but something going horribly wrong and leaving you alone and isolated in some place you're not familiar with? A place full of dangerous forests, caves, and carnivorous animals ready to turn you into their afternoon snack? Have you ever thought how it would feel to be stuck in a situation like that? Man, that would be so fun! Developed by Konami's Sapporo game development studio and published in 1999 by... who else would it be really? Just as the name implies, Survival Kids is about some kids being forced into a survival situation. In Europe, it's known as Stranded Kids, which is... close enough, I guess. It starts with selecting either the boy or the girl, by default named Ken and Mary. The story kicks off with you going on a cruise with your father. It's your birthday, and being the responsible adult that he is, you get a survival knife as your birthday present. That's alright, because things go horribly wrong. You're thrown into an unknown island, with no way of contacting anyone and no idea of what to do. But hey, your dad gave you a dangerous looking knife. What luck! A couple of other things also survived the crash, so pick them up. From now on, you're on your own. It's up to you to do your best to stay positively alive and to avoid becoming positively dead. You have to manage your health, your stamina, your hunger, and your thirst. You will quickly discover a hut in the forest, which will serve as a base camp for your adventures. In here, you can deposit or withdraw items that you have found in your adventures, and you will be doing a lot of inventory management. You can also sleep here, which will skip time ahead and recover your health and stamina. There are plenty of items scattered around the island. Some are consumables, like grass and fruit that recover your status, but you need to be careful because, unsurprisingly, some have negative effects. Thankfully, the game is kind enough to remind you of the possible consequences of eating them, provided you've already tried them before. Others can be used as tools or materials used for crafting and other things, which is something that you would do a lot because a lot of these things are essential to progressing in the game. This game could be an adaptation of MacGyver and you wouldn't notice any difference. Wild animals randomly spawn around the areas, and you might want to hunt the weaker ones for meat, which you can then cook and eat. With the stronger animals, you might as well not even bother. The game features a very simple combat system that involves simply attacking the animals with your knife or axe, but whether you're successful or fail horribly is entirely up to chance. You can try using a bow, but it's very hard to line up a shot in all the narrow passages. You can also learn how to make traps, but I never found any reason to bother with the handiwork. You're not exactly struggling to find food anyway, and the hunger and thirst meters are easy to maintain, so there isn't much pressure on that end. One thing to keep in mind is that the game doesn't actually play in real time. Time advances one tick with every step you take, much in the style of roguelikes such as the Mystery Dungeon series. It might feel strange at first, considering that there is a day and night system in place, but it's easy to adapt to. As you explore the island, you'll find blocked paths and puzzles to navigate through. As you solve them, more and more areas become available, although the island isn't too big and you start finding shortcuts between the areas. You'll find forests, ruins, a swamp, a monkey, and who knows, you might even find another human. Not necessarily alive. The puzzles, if you can even call them that, have very simple solutions most of the time, but a select few might require you to stop and consider your options for a bit. It's hard to describe it without sounding like my IQ is in the single digits, but basically the solutions are simple yet not always totally obvious. An example is this stone slab that you find around the middle point of the game. It's dirty and you can't see what's inscribed in it. My initial thought pattern says that I need to find or craft something to clean it. Like water. Do I need to craft a bucket, fill it with clean water and then wash the stone slab? Oh. That's right, I have a canteen filled with clean water. Up to this point, the canteen was only used to quench my thirst, so my brain didn't even register that the canteen has a use option. But maybe I'm just dumb. There isn't much of a plot to follow. You eventually discover a ship, but it's locked down by 7 chains, and you need to find 7 gems to unlock them and then hopefully escape. Preferably alive. A playthrough of the game is short if you know what you are doing. You can get the area standing in about a half hour of playing. And that's alright, because the game is designed around it. It's all about exploration, experimentation, failure, and eventual success. Unfortunately, that can be a bit frustrating with all the inventory management. You have very little inventory space, but there are items that you want to keep with you at all times. Some of them are only required 2 or 3 times, but you can't know which ones you need to bring unless you look it up, which you shouldn't because you would be ruining the game for yourself. While it sounds like the game is fairly open in terms of structure, progression is partially linear. One of the early events in the game involves building a raft. If you don't bring enough supplies with you, you get a bad ending and die alone in the middle of the sea. If you do bring enough supplies, things still go wrong, but you survive and unlock the next section of the game. There are a bunch of different endings, but until you achieve all of them, you're going to be playing for a while. Perhaps a bit too much for one of the endings, which requires surviving for 100 days, even though the final ending can be reached in half of that. The music does a good job at building up atmosphere. Seriously, tell me if this isn't the most stuck in an island all alone and have to survive kind of music you have ever heard. However, there's something about this little jingle that bothers me. A sequel was also released, again for the Game Boy Color. It features 2 brothers who must escape from 2 different places. One is stuck in an island, just like the first game, while the other is stuck in a prison. I haven't actually played it, however. It was released exclusively in Japan, but it got a fan translation 2 years ago. There are also the Lost in Blue games for the DS and Wii, which are just labeled Lost in Blue in the West, but in Japan are straight up called Survival Kids. I haven't spent much time playing these games, but I don't remember thinking too fondly of them. I recall the DS trilogy looking extremely bland with its primitive 3D graphics and feeling really cheap and unpolished. The Wii game, Shipwrecked, I recall seeming very interesting, but being annoyingly sluggish and everything you did taking way too much time. Maybe I'll take another look at them in the future, which might make a good video, but for now I'm satisfied with being a survival kid.